Yo, 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 good people, it's your homie Herb Man, and you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Hey, go tell somebody your homie Herb Man is on. And if you are new to this platform, go ahead and hit that logo right at the bottom of your screen right there and hit that notification bell so that you never ever miss what we bring to the table. All right, so let's get right into it. We're talking about today mental health, and I call mental health the number one killer, okay? The number one killer, the number one disease that is infecting the world today. And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I wanted to make this video, because mental health is, to me, a silent killer that is ravaging not only individuals and persons, but I'm talking about communities and societies, and this is a global pandemic. All right, this is a really big thing, and I want you guys to understand how we can come to this particular understanding, how we need to address mental health as a global understanding and a global construct instead of just by individual, per individual, by individual. Okay, this is attacking us at a very great rate, and it's getting the best of us, and we are getting all kinds of mental fogness, okay, in every area of our existence, whether it be in our relationships, whether it be in our business, whether it be in our careers, whether it be in our education, whether it be in our finances. We just have some mental fogness there, some clarity that really needed to be introduced to us as individuals, as well as communities, as well as societies, and as a global understanding of what this thing is actually doing and how many different forms that it can take on based on the individuals and based on the organizations and based on the communities and societies. So what are just some of the few mental health conditions, okay? Because there's a slew of them out there, and a lot of them can derive from other types of things or other types of illnesses, okay? So I just wanted to cover a few, and one of them I wanted to cover was depression, okay? And from a medical understanding of depression, depression is not necessarily a disease or a disease of the mind, okay? It is just a understanding that there are different levels of depression. You could be having a major depression, okay? You could just be having some sad episodes that keep you down, all right, and keep you out and keep you feeling sad and alone and all that type of stuff. And those are kind of the normal depression stages that most of us go through. Not the major stuff, but just the sadness and the feeling of being alone, and the feeling of being anxious and the anxiety and all that type of stuff. All right, but this is not necessarily a disease of the mind, and I really wanted to make that clear, because as we move forward, you'll see the difference between some of the other ones that we're going to be looking at here today, and you'll see that they are categorized as a disease of the mind. Okay, so what I mean by that is depression, because it's not necessarily a disease of the mind, it could be a offshoot or a result of a lot of different things. Okay, it could be a result of a disease of the mind, or a result of something that we ate, or a result of a nutritional deficiency, or a result of being alone, or something that has happened to us that was maybe traumatic, or us just being without certain things that we need in life can cause us to have depression, but it is pretty much a result of something else. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, another form of mental health is eating disorders, okay? Eating disorders. Now, how is this a disease of the mind? Because there is something that is telling you, when it's a disease of the mind, it's almost uncontrollable. So here is a situation when you have an eating disorder that we may be talking about anorexia, okay? And in this anorexic person, they fear gaining weight, so they don't eat. Now, we all know that we should eat. So if you're not eating because you fear gaining weight, that can be considered a disease of the brain and of the stomach, okay? a disease of the brain and of the stomach, but it is caused through what? Mental health. Why? Because you should eat, but you're not going to consume anything because of the fear of gaining weight. That is a mental health issue, okay? And I want you to understand that a lot of these gonna come through social means, environmental means, as well as financial means, as well as food, all right? Our nutritional means. So you can get this stuff through a lot of various different things, but I want to kind of braid everything together to get you to see that it's not just what you're eating, it's not just what you're drinking, but it's also the environment, it's also your household environment, it's also your lifestyle and what you're going through. It's everything that is causing us to have these mental fogness or this mental stress, all right? And the next one is post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. Now, this is also categorized as a disease of the mind. Now, what is this? This is when someone has had a trauma that has caused them to have these mental fogness or this mental health issue. Okay. Whether it be from the military, whether it be that you saw, one of your loved ones die, get killed in front of you. Maybe a police officer killed your loved one. Maybe your father was never there. Maybe your mom and your father gave you up for foster care. These are all PTSD scenarios, all right? Maybe you were in an accident and caused a brain situation, a post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? Maybe you was in the wars, all right? So all of these different things can be why you are in post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? But remember that this is a disease of the mind, all right? Because you're no longer in these traumatic situations, but you're still flashing back to these scenarios, which is causing your life to be at a dis-ease. Your mind to be at a dis-ease. It's unable to rest. And you're going to see that as we go through these, some of these are stimulants and some of these are depressants, which means that you're going to need herbs that's going to be either depressants or stimulants, depending on which one you are in. If you're in a depressed state, you're going to need something to stimulate you. If you're too overly stimulated, like you're too anxious and you're too on pins and needles, your nerves are just bad, you're going to need something to what? Depressant to bring you down, to calm you, to relax you down. And these are the things that we need to keep in mind as we move forward. Anxiety. Anxiety is the next one and is also categorized as a disease of the mind. Why? Because you are anxious. Okay, you're nervous about certain scenarios, certain things, and it's driving you insane. Okay, your nerves are getting bad. You don't know what to do, and your mind is racing because you're so anxious at a particular time or moment or a situation, and you can't calm your nerves until this thing happens for you, until you know everything about this, or until you plan all of this out, or whatever it is causing you anxiety, okay? And that can be disease of the mind. So here you're going to need herbs to calm you down, and we're going to get over here to the herbs, so just bear with me. All right, now the next one is addiction. All right, this next mental health is very, very valuable and is also considered a disease of the mind. So this is when you are eating and drinking foods that you know to be harmful, but you still consume them. Okay, that also is for drugs and whatever else. It's when you're consuming foods and drinks, whether it be alcohol or drugs or dairy or fried foods or whatever the case may be. You are consuming something you know to be harmful to you, but you cannot stop yourself from consuming it. That is an addiction, and that is mental health. Okay. Now there are also other byproducts of these. Like I said, you could be unipolar, you could be bipolar, okay, which is still in that depression. You can have OCD, okay. That's still considered a mental illness. You can be dealing with autism. That's considered a mental illness. So there's a lot of other things that can be put into these categories. But I just wanted to name some of these because some of these things we're going through right now as we're dealing with what we're dealing with in our world, when we're talking about COVID-19 or when we're talking about police brutality and the judicial system, okay? Or when we're talking about financial racism, so to speak, right? Or where we're not getting our fair share of opportunity, whether we be going to jobs or whether we're trying to start our businesses, okay? Or where we're talking about medical racism, okay? Or whether we're talking about just all of these different forms of oppression can have these particular results in our lives, and we don't even recognize it. So when we're telling you about keeping your immune system up because there's something out here that's attacking us, how difficult will that be if you're under so much stress? And if your foods are not giving you the right nutrition, how can you circumvent some of these particular situations? If you just saw somebody die on TV right in front of you, millions of us could be in PTSD and don't even know it. If you're coming from a fatherless home or motherless home or a parentless home, you could be dealing with PTSD. You don't have to be coming from the war. Okay? You understand what I'm trying to say? If you're having an eating disorder, it's because you probably don't know what to eat now. You know, okay, well, as soon as we start this fad, they say that that's not healthy. Then we start this, they say that that's not healthy. You know what? I'm just not going to do anything, okay? I'm going to try to keep myself thin, try to keep myself at a particular weight. And therefore, now you're going into the mental health aspect of a eating disorder, all right? So now you won't even eat what you need to eat because of the fact that you want to keep yourself a certain way based on certain mental factors, okay? Anxiety, a lot of us are dealing with anxiety. What's the next day going to bring? What's the next month going to bring? Where's the next check going to come from? How am I going to get another job? What am I going to do with my kids? How am I going to take care of my kids? Do I need a car right now? I need a place to stay right now. What am I going to do right now? Okay. What am I going to do if I get sick? What am I going to do if I don't get a check? Where am I going to live at? And a lot of us are dealing with anxiety issues right now and don't understand that that is a disease of the mind. And some of these things can be effects of your social environment. They're not just all about you doing something to yourself. Mental health is the number one killer because why? Because you can kill yourself through genocide, through mental health, just by having a society that don't understand that they're mentally deranged in how they grow their food, how they sell their food, what they're drinking, how they're doing every single thing in their community, in their society. It's just not the way it's supposed to be. It's so unnatural. So unnatural that it's causing everybody in that community, in that environment, to be tainted with addictions and anxieties and stresses and disorders and depressions on a continual daily basis. Being inadequate in all these particular areas will cause a devastating amount of stress on the body and on the mind. Everything is vying for your mind. Everything is vying for your mind. Every system is vying for your mind's attention and belief, because once it got its attention and once it can get you to believe in it, then where the mind goes, the body goes. All right. So everything is vying for your mind. Remember that. Everything is vying for your mind. Even now, I'm vying for your mind for these 15 minutes to try to get you to understand that somebody else is vying for your mind and protect your mind. And you got so many things that is attacking the mind. That's why it's becoming the number one killer. That's why I said through genocide, you can have mental health and it'll make you commit a homicide. You can have mental health and it can make you commit a suicide. And you don't just necessarily have to have a gun or a knife. You could just have a spoon or a fork and kill yourself through food. And you could have a bottle and kill yourself through drink. You could have all of these different things and kill yourself overworking yourself through jobs and careers, and kill yourself with all this stuff that you don't have time to do. And it's causing stress and depression, and it's causing these things to make you have a bad body. Unhealthy, ready to crack and ready to break at any moment. So you have herbs for depression like Provence rose and salvia, or schizandra berries, or St. John's wort and valerian. For eating disorders, you got marijuana and alfalfa. For PTSD, you got chamomile and brahmi, green tea, basil, nettle, and rhodiola. For anxiety, you got rhodiola and passion flower. For addictions, you got delphinium and red clover, okay? And these are just some of the herbs that you can utilize to help you through some of these things. But mind you, you're going to need some herbs, okay? You're going to need some stuff to help you with your depression. You're going to need some stuff to help you when you feel low, and you're going to need some stuff to help you come down from the stimulation of overthinking. Okay. And especially in this time, you're going to need something to where you're at even keel to allow you to really strategically plan your next step, your family next step, and beyond. All right. And so, hey, I just wanted to make this video for you guys. You know, I love you guys, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So go tell somebody your homie Herb Man was on. And until next time, peace. Yes, sir. You know I love you.